Hello, and welcome to the Roughneck Minute, a Movies by Minute podcast where we go over the movie Starship Troopers 1 minute at a time. I'm one of your hosts, Matthew.
And I'm your other host, Johann.
And we're at minute 63. This minute begins with troops advancing up a hill and ends with Lieutenant Willie giving Ace some orders.
Okay, so when I compared it to the script, there's this whole scene is just completely different. First off, because the Marauders are supposed to exist at this point. Secondly, they're being dropped into the thick of battle, not like they're about to meet the oncoming forces. So there's a couple more bugs that are introduced that were first unseen, and it's not revealed till later in the movie of some of them, but one of them is actually not in the movie at all.
Which one is that?
So it's this one's called Workers. It's just called Workers.
Yeah.
So it says here that a flood of workers building advancing fortifications, and with them hundreds of deadly arachnid warriors. So there's supposed to be something that's actually building some sort of barrier between the infantry and the bug batteries, which is what it's called.
That makes a lot more sense, and it sounds like it's more in line with the book, and they're a little more smarter than what they are in the movie. Just because in the book, they were pseudo-arachnids. They had their own spaceships, whatnot, and they did have a worker case as well too. So it makes a lot more sense.
So it also names those bugs that are creating the plasma. So they're called the bug batteries in this scene. That's matching with the movie. But then it's also the first time we actually really see what they do.
Yeah. In the movie, though, they're called the plasma bug for obvious reasons.
Yeah. So, do you want to go through this moment by moment real quick? Because most of my stuff it really kicks in at the last 20 seconds. Because even in the script, it's really a lot of stuff of like the Marauders booting up and everything like that.
Okay. Yeah, so the troops are advancing over the hill, the camera pans, and we get our first view of, the inhabitants of Clendathu. A few warriors and two giant plasma bugs.
Yeah, and like I said in the last minute, they're over that ridge that's been used in many movies before. So they're just standing at the ridge and obviously looking at a green screen.
Yeah, and the bugs are unaware of what's going on. The plasma bugs take aim and point their butts up into the sky and let loose. Now, like when I was younger, I actually thought that the plasma bugs were the tanker bugs as well too, but that's because I was a dumb kid.
No, I actually had that. I also wondered, were they the same thing?
Yeah, okay, so it wasn't just me then.
Yeah, but you can't see the front of these plasma bugs, so it's hard to tell.
Yeah.
And with the night coloring, they have a similar color tone.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm wondering, because you see the plasma that goes up, but I'm wondering what is that, the stuff that's falling off it? Like, is it basically bug poop?
I'm guessing probably. I mean, so there are bugs that kind of do this in real life, but they're more like throwing acid, like those ants that kind of spit.
Yeah, but it's through the front. It's not the back.
Oh, yes, you're right. No, I'm sorry. There is a stink, not a stink bug, but like a acid bug that like spits out acid out of its butt.
Really?
Yeah. So what I'm thinking of is called a bombardier beetle. It shoots acid at its enemies to get them. It's actually like chemically charged and heated acid. So as soon as it leaves, it hits the air and it like instantly gets like really, really hot and burns pretty much whatever it hits. So it can like get rid of like ants that are coming after it and everything. And then I'll post this in the Facebook group as well too, a video of one of them attacking. I am pretty sure this is what the plasma bugs are based off of. But I think we discussed this a little bit too, but let's get into it now. How the heck would a bug like this in the movie come to fruition? Like, over years and years and years, millions of years of evolution, how would they somehow like, oh, decide, oh, I have plasma coming out of my butt. I can use it as artillery.
I'm assuming that at one point it was used for like digging.
Oh, okay. I like that.
You know, like they would turn their back towards like an area that needs to be destroyed or something, and then they just created like kind of like a starting hole, like basically dynamiting a solid rock.
Oh, I like that actually.
But I'm watching a video of this bombardier beetle. It's really quite interesting.
Yeah, right?
So it has like a front like an ant, but then the back part does look like a regular like a potato bug.
Mm.
And they managed to shoot the acid to their front anyways. So it is kind of cool. I can kind of see the influence of it. The only thing is in the movie, these beetles have wings, it seems like.
Yeah. Okay. So also I do have an article right here, and I actually recommend anyone interested in this movie to look it up. I'm going to actually be reading from it since we are now on Clendathu and since we are fighting the bugs. This article is called Army of Clendathu. And it basically goes over like influence of some of the bugs and also how they made a lot of the bugs as well too. One of the deleted scenes for the plasma bugs showed that the plasma bug's projectile was energy charged larva-like bugs. So in canon, what they're shooting out are larvae basically. And that makes kind of sense because at the very beginning of the movie, Rue McCallaghan does say that they launched their spore into space to colonize. So maybe this is their, maybe this is how they evolved to like, oh, once they got to a certain size on one planet, these bugs got bigger and then evolved, and a way to launch their spore outside of orbit, which still is kind of weird because I mean, what I'm there's some science in here that I'm not going to get into because it's going to take too long and I'm going to get bored before I finish. But I'm wondering, what is a delta V of this plasma? And for those not in the know, delta V is basically what is the energy it would take to get this plasma out of orbit. And I don't know. Again, I'm not going to do it because it's going to take too long and I I don't really care at the end of the day. But it just begs, I mean, it doesn't look like it's going too fast,
No, but the drift of it seems a little bit interesting because it doesn't seem to be like affected by gravity in a way.
Yeah, and as I said, it goes slow, so I don't know, maybe it has its own propulsion as well too. And that's maybe what the stuff is coming off of it as well.
Mm-hmm.
So again, this is probably millions of years of evolution that came from the plasma bug that they needed to colonize other planets, and over millions of years, this bug came to fruition to launch spores. And it was also helpful that it was pretty much like legit plasma too that could like slice through stuff. And yeah, as you said too, yeah, you make a lot of sense as well too with your digging idea that this bug, yeah, was usually used for digging, but then it decided, hey, I'm going to stick my butt in the air, see how that works.
Yeah, maybe because since it does, one of the things that makes this kind of an interesting theory of like what it could be is it may have been designed as like a queen.
Oh, yeah.
Like maybe because there's always going to be a queen bug, these are the females that aren't queens.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so what I'm thinking too, because the bugs are so like dramatically different. I mean, you have, as you can see right there, those giant plasmas. Then you also have, the way they more look like the tanker bugs as well too. Those kind of look a little more like those. But the arachnids themselves, the warriors, and also the sand beetles and the brain look completely different. What I'm thinking is these bugs are somewhat different in their biology. Like they may not be the same species per se, but they've learned to coexist and become their own colony kind of thing.
No, well, the theory that I have is, let's say the tankers are male bugs,
Mm-hmm.
and then these plasma bugs are female. So when a colony or a hive is created, they kind of, sometimes bugs will always have like one queen, and that's the only one that makes the egg, so it passes down that sort of genealogy.
Yeah, they'll have like dormant queens and whatnot as well too.
Yeah, but they don't lay eggs. It's only
Yeah.
until they move into a new colony or the queen dies, then certain queens become, or certain dormant queens become regular queens. So because these things can create their own larvae, maybe this is like kind of like, okay, you don't get to be like, it kind of sucks to say, it's like, all right, you don't get to be a mother, so expel all your children in this fashion.
That makes a lot more sense, actually. Yeah, good. That's pretty cool.
Because in an insect world, that's kind of what it would be like.
Yeah. Yeah, staying. All right.
So, and then the tanker bugs would be the male, and then the brain bug is male or female, but they're the ones that control the hive.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of like weird evolution stuff going on in this whole entire, ecosystem that I mean, like some bugs like do coexist. Like there are like colonies of ants that like house and use aphids as like little workers,
Yeah.
and they'll keep them as pets and whatnot. So it's not like out of the realm of possibility that there are different like bugs working together to achieve the same goal. But I do like your idea of the tanker and the plasma being the ones who are pretty much, passing on spore, but they're dormant at the moment and just fighting.
Yes, that's my theory.
I like it, and I'll keep it actually.
All right.
We then see the troopers. They're looking at this plasma flying up into the sky. It keeps going up, and we get a little more of that crescendo music. It sounds like Lieutenant Willie is getting some relay information, and he tells Ace and Rico to nuke them. Actually, no, he says, nuke 'em! Levy, Rico, nuke 'em!
And you did have a theory about the clean nuke, which allows them to run in real quick.
Oh, yes. So I actually, so what they're using, guys, is called, I'm getting this again from the Starship Troopers Wikia. This is called a tactical oxygen nuke. Unlike fusion or fission nuclear weapons, this nuclear weapon used in the film appears to be an ultra-low-yield pure fusion weapon. Pure fusion releases energy like a conventional nuclear weapon, but doesn't require fissile materials like plutonium or uranium, and therefore produces no fallout. This allows the mobile infantry to destroy huge plasma bugs and then immediately rush into the area early stage of the Kalindathu offensive. It's also packed with a smart missile, which is pretty maneuverable as well too, and Rico and Ace are using the M55 rocket launcher.
So I do like the idea of like how they timed the shot onto this, because it definitely they shot the bugs that where the most energy was built in to wipe out a huge area, and it's obviously more exciting on screen.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I love it. Like, oh, these bugs are about to shoot again, and they're taking out, their artillery, basically, and the nukes go off. So, I had this weird fascination as a little kid with nuclear weapons, and I think it still continues on to this day because, I play Fallout and all that other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I grew up in the time when nuclear war was still technically possible, and it was kind of still a threat. I'm talking about, the 80s and everything. Like, you and I both grew up in the 80s.
Yeah.
But I don't know if the Philippines were directly, targeted by the Ruskies, but I'm pretty sure Russia still wanted to nuke us by the time I was alive.
Yeah.
Knew what was going on.
We weren't like that predominant threat type thing.
Okay. But I mean, the whole entire idea of like a global thermonuclear war is still like hanged in the balance and everything too.
Yeah.
But I remember being about like 5 years old around like 1990, and still being afraid of Russia and still being afraid of nukes and everything. And, watching Red Dawn and being like, I could be like that. It'll be cool.
Yeah.
But, a couple years later, the USSR disbanded and became the Russian Federation. All the worries of nuclear war kind of like faded. But even still, I still had like dreams as a little kid of like, or nightmares, as I would say, of waking up, walking outside, and there'd be like a nuclear explosion. And it scared the crap out of me.
Did you know that in Las Vegas they have a nuclear museum?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've wanted to go for a while, but I mean, it's off strip, isn't it?
I'm not sure. I didn't go to that.
Yeah.
I just heard about it.
Yeah, usually when you and I or anyone, like if we head down to Vegas, we always try to make sure we hit up the Pinball Hall of Fame, if anything.
Yeah, that place is still fun.
Oh, it's so good.
I recommend anybody that's in Vegas that's listening to this to check out the Pinball Hall of Fame. It's so much fun, and it's privately funded, but it doesn't get a whole lot. It's just like one guy's love for pinball, and it's just his own kind of project that keeps it going. So try and check it out for as long as you can, because from what I heard, he doesn't have anybody to pass the museum off to if he passes on. So definitely try and check it out while you can, because it's got everything from the times when pinball was like there was no spring to project the ball back up to the top, so it was like kind of like a plinko machine that you try and get the most points on the way down. And they also have the pinball machines that in the era where they were banned because they thought they were used for gambling. So it is a big piece of history, and there's it's tons of free games, or not free games, but tons of fun games to play.
Yeah, it's not free, but I do want to say, like, when Johann and I did go, we brought like $20, and that lasted about 3 hours.
At least 3 hours.
Yeah, I mean, I think most of these machines still take at least, at the most 50 cents, but most, if not all of them, take 25 cents. And if you're good at pinball, 25 cents can last you, forever.
Yeah, like especially, well, they also have the Twilight Zone one, which is one of the most popular pinball machines ever. That one, if you're good at that, you can last forever. I played Medieval Madness on that one, and I was there for, I think, like 20, 30 minutes. So.
See, that was the same with me with Theater of Magic. I love that one.
Yeah. So, if you're in Vegas, you should check it out. I think it's off Flamingo Road.
And I think they actually do have, going back to the movie, they do have a Starship Troopers cabinet as well, too.
Oh, really? I can't remember if I saw it or not. I spent most of my time on the Family Guy, Medieval Madness, Star Trek.
It was right next to the Star Trek, actually.
Was it? Oh, damn.
Yep.
I was so engaged in that.
The Starship Troopers one is pretty cool, actually. It has, a warrior bug moving around. Oh, that's
right. Yeah.
It has a tanker, and it has a skyhook in there as well, too. But, like, there's no, it's just this general, like, kind of rock music and some voiceovers from Michael Ironsides.
Yeah, I remember you were playing it next to me. Because I remember you were like, oh, look, it's got the warrior bug. And I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was just a little model of it. Didn't look that good, but I mean, it was just a cool game to play.
Yeah.
But definitely, guys, I mean, if you're in Vegas, check that out.
Definitely. I kind of want to go over real quick on the difference between the script and the movie.
Go for it.
So, because we're at that point where it starts to diverge from the script from the movie. So when they're up on the ridge, Lieutenant Willie says, we'll nuke those bug positions from, and then he screams. A hopper comes out of nowhere and lands on his head and cracks his head open.
Whoa.
Yeah. So the hopper appears much earlier in the film, and Lieutenant Willie dies much earlier in the film.
So in the script, the bugs are firing the first shot, technically, then.
Yes.
Wow.
Because they don't actually get to nuke it just yet.
That's... I think, I don't know if I would have liked that. I would have liked it if they nuked him first and then, oh gosh, here come all the bugs.
Yeah. So they at first think they have the the
Tactical advantage.
yeah, of a sneak attack, and then just completely no. The
Ah.
hopper bugs come out and take them out first.
I mean, it makes sense. They came down pretty hard and then launched flares everywhere. They're kind of like visible.
Yeah, but
I mean,
so
that's a movie, though.
yeah, but that's where it immediately diverges,
Ah, okay.
and so they open fire, destroy the hopper, and Johnny says, "Lieutenant's bought the farm. Where's the Sarge?" Ace says, "I don't see him." And then all the workers and the warriors start to come up. And Dizzy says, "Ace, what are we doing?" Ace goes, which is obviously is in a later minute, but this would have been around this minute period.
Gotcha. So
But that's
kind of
where it
just
starts to
fast-tracks
merge
that.
back into the minute.
Gotcha. I think Eddie Neumeyer did read the book because a lot of these terms and a lot of these, scenes and ideas basically come from the book because they don't say, "Hey, got killed," or you don't say, "I got killed" or "You're gonna get killed." You basically say, "You bought the farm."
Yeah.
Yeah, and you like, "Oh, you're gonna buy that farm and tend it too," kind of thing. So I think Eddie definitely took control of that and was like, "Oh, I'll read the book." Verhoeven, I know you're not gonna read it. I'll do it instead. I'll make sure that at least some of it gets in there.
Yeah.
But after they're all nuked, the troopers do take cover. Everything happens, and this is one of the things too. I was wondering when I was little, how are they okay? With all the nuke and everything, or the nuke and the fallout and everything. Well, now we know.
Yeah,
And
that I did wonder about that when I was a kid too.
iodine pills, they're fine.
Yeah.
They have iron lead underwear.
So when I'm watching this, when I'm pausing it like at 102.50, you get to kind of take a look at Lieutenant Willie's Merida, and he does have a different one.
Yeah, that's going to be the carbine, the smaller version.
Yeah. I'm wondering why it was given to him, because I would think that would be a more, well, obviously it's more lightweight of a gun because it has a shorter muzzle.
Mm-hmm.
But wouldn't you give that more to someone that is carrying more equipment, like the comms, like Diz was wearing?
So I don't know, but when I did read about this on the IMFDB,
Yeah.
it was saying that the carbine Merida was mostly given to officers, if anything, just because it was lighter. It didn't have the attachments on it. It was just strictly for firing. So like most of these guys, like Dizzy, Ace, Rico, and everything, they have either a grenade or a shotgun attachment on the bottom of it. It's kind of a specialized little thing. But officers, they're not going to be like directing. You're not going to be shooting, grenades or shotguns themselves, I guess. They're going to be telling you, "Hey, shoot that over there. Throw some, HEs in there. High explosive grenades in there," kind of thing.
Yeah.
What I'm thinking, basically. But I mean, like when we get into the later minute as well, too, we'll see another lieutenant, and also I think Rico at the very end uses one as well, too.
But I'm just saying that I know there's a obvious idea of giving it to the officers and whatnot, but it's just, wouldn't you give that to somebody that is carrying more gear as well? That's just all I'm saying.
I get that. I don't know. Like I think it just may be like, oh, we decided to give the regular Merida standard issue to everyone, and then just give the special one to officers only, kind of thing. I don't know. Like, it makes, again, we're dealing with a military that decided to let carbon fly. You can't really think that they're being really, really smart about who gets a lightweight Merida and who doesn't.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, that's what I have to do every single time I watch this, and like be like, what the hell's wrong with them? Oh, wait, they let Carmen fly. I forgot.
Yeah. So it looks like that the Merida carbine it's modeled after Ruger rifle.
Yeah.
So it's just I don't know. Now, a lot of these guns look like they could be fashioned out of something that does exist, but then it looks like they use a Ruger for like all of it, like it's a stock.
Yeah, that's basically what it is.
So that's kind of cool, though.
Oh yeah, I love it. I mean, I actually found a mod in Fallout 4 that has the Merida, both the carbine and the standard issue as well too, with the all the attachments.
Oh, that is kind of cool.
The only problem with it is it doesn't have a really good model on it, or I'm sorry, a texture on it, and it kind of doesn't go with the aesthetic of Fallout. Like, I'd absolutely love it if I could get in there, but I just kind of saved it, endorsed it, and I was like, yeah, this is kind of cool.
Yeah, that's what I'm just looking at online. It says, oh, okay. Seeing a closer view of the actual Merida. It's I don't know. I just never noticed this till now, but there are 2 triggers on this.
Yeah.
I always wondered about that.
Yep. That's because either one of them...
like the bottom trigger is going to be used for the shotgun. The top one's going to be for the standard full automatic. Yeah. But I just wondered because he activated a pump action that it would automatically trigger a shell into the firing position. So I never thought that it would be 2 triggers. Because I think 2 triggers is just a little too cumbersome.
That's how it usually is on like normal like weapons right now as well too. Usually if you have a grenade launcher or some kind of other underbarrel kind of thing, you usually do have a secondary trigger as well too. So
yeah, but it's just that the sniper version also has a dual trigger.
Yeah.
So you can't really snipe with a shotgun.
No, you really can't.
Yeah, that's the reason why I think it's a little weird.
Yeah.
And it's just,
and
I guess it's just something I never noticed.
Let's back to the minute a little bit. Willie gives some orders telling the first platoon to follow him and go left and whatnot. And then he runs up against a wall, kind of, and gives a little bit more orders to Ace. But that's really where that minute ends. Did you want to talk about anything else particular about this minute at all?
Nah, I think we're good.
Yeah.
I mean, the next couple minutes start to get a little bit more interesting. We actually get to see some carnage.
Oh, yeah. The first, next week, guys, when the first minute next week is going to be just like full of horrible goriness and blood and everything. It's going to be rated R for sure. Where can they find you, Johann?
So you guys can find me on Twitch and Instagram at J-D26. You can find me on Twitter at OMG It's Johann. And that's about it right now.
And you guys can find me at AltMatt pretty much anywhere online. Twitter, Instagram, Twitch. If you guys want to see the Merida in Fallout 4, I can definitely try and download it and use it a little bit. But for right now, I'm not going to download it unless, provoked.
Yeah.
You guys can follow the show at The Roughneck Min on Twitter, MIN. You can also go to our website, theroughneckminute.podbean.com for past episodes or show notes. And you can also continue the conversation on our Facebook group, The Roughneck Minute Billet. And you can continue the conversation talking about pinball machines and nukes. Please subscribe, rate, and review us on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, any other podcast you guys can find as well, too. But I've been one of your hosts, Matthew.
And I've been your other host, Johann.
And we will see you on the Bounce Troopers.